Good morning, good morning. What's up, folks? How's everybody doing this morning? What's up, Dr. McNasty? Martha? Want to go with Martha? Martha M? What's up, new trader? Good morning to you. Good to see you. Let me put out the announcement real quick in the chat here. I've not done yet. Sorry, I was looking at some charts, doing some other stuff. Let me also, speaking of charts, let me get my screen sharing set up. Alright, screen sharing should be going. Looks like our YouTube stream is 5x5. That's what we want to see. And then let me get these announcements out into the chat real quick. Zim. Oh, I remember Zim. Yeah, we can take a look at that. For new trader. Alright. Let me post that out in the chats. Alright, that's done. Back to our live stream. What's up, Navy Plum? Good morning to you. What's up, Trader Dave, Trevor, PJ, Milan, Marco, JD, CD, Adam, Andy. What's up, everybody? What's up, Chris? Good morning to you, my friend. All right, let me take a look at Yeah, it was a strange day, and it was kind of a weird scenario where, let me clean some of this stuff up here. Weird scenario where, or not weird, it's just one of the things where, it's a little bit risky, so we'll talk about PayPal real quick. Where it can sometimes be a little bit risky when it comes to swinging options, because if you have a particular price target in mind, in this case, we're kind of playing within our trade plan range, and I was playing within the indicators here. So, really my second price target that I listed for this PayPal alert that we took was up here at 66.04. It was at 66.04 not only because that's a decent hourly resistance level, but it also had strong confluence with the heaviest selling pressure on Neptune here on the 15-minute chart. So, running pretty much right in line with that existing support and resistance level. So we took those calls down here. Again, I was looking at this, multiple bounces off the 200 SMA. We had a nice little confluence down here. I did hesitate probably a little bit too long getting in. I don't think we got in until right about on this candle right here. But ultimately, we were holding the 200 SMA, and as long as we held that, I was happy with holding it for a swing. With targets up here at that intraday rejection at 65.37, and the second target up here at that confluence that I mentioned earlier, right? So we get the gap up, we run right into our second price target, and honestly, the app caught a slightly, bad fill. I got a better fill when I actually closed my trade versus what the app registered, but I'm not going to split hairs over what would have changed, an 11% or whatever it wound up the alert capturing being into like I don't know, I think it was 15 or 16%. It should have been higher for a couple of reasons. One, had a really hard time getting a fill right there at the open. So kind of had to take a less than favorable fill with the move that it was making. Pretty much right out of the open, but it rejected exactly where I expected it to. Now, we did get a little bit of a false breakout here, and this can happen sometimes from a Neptune perspective, where you get that one candle that it just gets a few cents high enough to flip things from an indicator perspective. Again, nothing is perfect, including these indicators, but overall what I look at when that happens is start looking at the 18-minute chart versus the 15-minute chart just to see if that kind of shifts the perspective at all. And sure enough, still kind of had us right in that selling pressure. So again, hopeful that might have held, but it was a very weak attempt to flip this to bullish, and almost instantaneously was back to the bearish side right after the open. So Anyway, point being, sometimes we hit these targets overnight, and if this sell-off started happening before market open, we could have, ultimately been right on the trade, but still in a bad spot trying to squeeze out profit from, the contract. So, sorry, I know there's a little bit of an aside, but the point being is that you got to be, somewhat conscientious of that being the case when you're talking about swinging options contracts, because again, you can hit your targets during the extended hours trading. Your plan could be absolutely spot on. In this case, our PayPal plan, we pretty much nailed it as far as the entry and getting out right at PT2. But that move happened so quickly, it was hard to get a fill. We hit the target. Again, I wish we could have sold 15 minutes earlier before the market opened, and that I would have done that if we had the opportunity to, but you just can't. So, yeah, like I said, and it was a great setup. The plan played out. We hit our targets, right? Never stopped out, or never even really threatened to stop out. But again, just kind of one of the things to be aware of when you're swinging options contracts. So this was kind of, again, playing within the range of the overall trade plan that we put together over the weekend. Ultimately, PayPal looks to be trying to break down. Neptune has shifted down and really concentrated some selling pressure up here at 64.20. So certainly that would be an interesting level to watch today for either a potential rejection short entry, or if we can get a breakout above. And really, I'd say the breakout above, I'd rather see it get over 64.64 with that 200 SMA dangling right there. So over that, I'd say upside could open back up again on PayPal over 64.64. 64.20 I think would be a good spot to take a short with a stop loss average down at that point, just based on how things are setting up this morning. So anyway, that's a quick touch on our PayPal trade plan and the trade that we started on Tuesday, closed out yesterday morning. Tesla was another one from the member selected tickers. Unfortunately, never really got a break. Let me switch this back to the 15-minute chart. Never really got a break, or at least one that I would say is tradable on this one until their earnings report last night, and obviously down below PT3, looks to even be finding resistance at PT3 for puts and rejecting. So opening up, I think, some significant downside here on Tesla. So again, one of the ones where, and with earnings coming up, wouldn't recommend being in contracts anyway, but just wanted to touch on this real quick and where Tesla is sitting right now, which is, flipping a key support here around this 196.50 level to resistance. Not a great look for Tesla bulls at the moment. Nvidia was another one of our trade plans from over the weekend. This one's finally played out as of yesterday, got the break above. Really pre-market, and then kind of more of a back test going into the open there of our call entry there at 602.36. Again, when we did these levels, all of these levels really that are on the chart, this is all-time highs. NVIDIA had never touched any of these price levels prior to this trade day, and really this 602.36 level, we had never even seen that before before Monday pre-market. But again, we put these levels on the chart Sunday, so we essentially are catching levels that NVIDIA had never ever tested before, and catching them, I would say, with fairly good accuracy. So very happy with how these levels have played out. Strong resistance right there at our call entry. We talked about this one on Tuesday. Eventually pre-market breaking above that call entry, getting the back test, also coming into that buying pressure on Neptune, bouncing and pushing higher, catching PT2 there, seeing some clean tests, at least on that one candle, of it as as resistance, also seeing it start to act as support, part of this gap up move this morning. So again, really happy with how well these levels have played out. I debated between 612.51 and 610.74. I'm sure these were both on the chart when I posted it on Sunday, but as far as which one of these we're going to use for our key level for the trade plan, I debated between the two, especially if we're talking about fib extensions. It's a $2 difference. I'm going to err on the side of picking the closer of the two targets for the trade plan, but ultimately the 612.51 seems to be the more effective of the two levels right now. Catching that on a back test and bouncing, and got very close to this 630.18 level on this push. So almost got all three price targets yesterday. Again, these are all projections, right? We're trying to find resistance levels that have never been tested before, because currently, NVIDIA is in uncharted territory, or at least it was yesterday. So, NVIDIA trade plan, has played out, I would say, quite well, especially considering that we are predicting untested targets and using them in the body of it, or as a key part of a trade plan. That takes some practice and really kind of having a good eye for support and resistance and technical analysis. So, point being, make sure to hone your skills, build up your chops. If you need help with any of that, reach out to myself or Chris or any of the analysts. Many of us do one-on-one mentoring if that's something that anybody's interested in. MDB, we did this one Tuesday, kind of on the fly at the very end. I think we knocked this out in like 4 or 5 minutes there at the very tail end of Tuesday's live stream. Still within our range of kind of no trade zone here. Does look a bit choppy, so waiting for a break of some kind here on MDB, either below 406.90 to play puts or over 426.52 for the call side. So keep this one on watch. Rumble was the other one that we did. This one did get a breakout to the upside Tuesday, after we charted it. In fact, kind of bounced out of our support area down here between our put entry and put stop loss levels, bounced out of that, pushed all the way up over to PT1, back tested our buy area, pushed higher up to PT2. Again, kind of similar scenario as PayPal, right? We're hitting these targets during the extended hour session, so the plan is good, but it's also kind of puts you in a spot where even though your plan was correct and it played out the way it should have, you're kind of locked into the trade until it's almost too late, with it really kind of selling off after hitting that second price target and coming all the way down. Looks like it formed a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern, even neckline probably right about this 617 level. Then you see it break down, back test that, what was resistance, or what was support as resistance, and pushing down even lower, but coming back into an area of support and buyers again. So yeah, keep an eye on this one. Could make another push off this 530 level. So another good one that we planned out well, but could be one that we could revisit and reuse again here, in the very near future. So keep all these on watch. Let's get to some of these new ticker requests that I have from you guys this morning. Let's see. I saw a new trader asking about Zim, wasn't it? Yeah, Zim. And then I think Navy Plum said, remember the dividend. Didn't they cut their dividend, or are they doing it again? I thought they cut it at one point. And when I say cut it, they weren't doing it at all. Yeah, April of 2023 was their last ex-dividend date. They haven't paid a dividend since then. So I don't know if they're still paying it or not. That was kind of the attractive part of Zim for a while there, was they were paying some ridiculous dividends given what their share price is, and man, this one's dropped way low. But again, probably everybody, good golly, huge misses on that last earnings report, but trying to bounce. All right, let me take a look at that. Yeah, paid one and then cut. Yeah, it's this is a weird one, and the shipping side of the world seemed to be picking up, but Zim just did not want to cooperate. And again, I think to some extent their incredibly high dividend eventually caught up with them. All right, so I have not charted it down in this range. Take a look at it though. And this looks like, all-time lows down here. So we'll keep that in mind. Interesting bounce rate off this 641 level. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, the you got to be really smart about some of these higher yield dividend tickers, because yeah, the you know, you're gonna always take that hit on the share price whenever those dividends get paid out, but you know, if it's a ticker that essentially recoups those dividend payments and does it, you know, in a decent amount of time, it can be a really good passive income vehicle. And Zim looked like it was doing that for a while, but then yeah, it kind of really hit the skids and struggled hard from there, and has, like I said, gotten down to now all-time lows from that point. Not seeing anything super convincing through this whole little run down here, at least on the weekly chart. Let's see if we've got anything. It's a bit thin, but probably something there. Right about in there. Let's see. Yeah, that's not going to really help at all. Good to know. Interesting gap down just below this double bottom too. That's going to be I think a real challenging level for Zim to recover, I'll bet. Alright. Well, let's see. Yeah, still no real confirmation on what that 1534 level is, but I think still think there's something there. This does look pretty good as a daily level. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's probably a little bit more like that. And let's see, what's down here underneath? Something sitting there. Maybe just a touch lower, like right there. Let me do this, sorry. I just realized, I was like, why is it so hard to see? I forgot to turn off my indicators. Duh. Probably something sitting right there. Definitely got something there. This one I think will mark. I think there could be something here, but not convinced on the daily chart exactly where that level is yet. That's also an interesting daily level. Alright. Let's see anything else that jumps out. Potential levels here. Not really, not in that range. Yeah, it's probably a little bit closer to being like that. Same thing up here. That's probably sitting right about there. Alright, that's probably good for levels we're gonna need. Also interesting gap here. Right up to this weekly level, actually. Oh, shoot. Send it back. There we go. Alright, and then this is an interesting daily level for sure up here. Alright, over that though, I think we're good on any daily levels we're gonna find. So let's start breaking up these candles a little bit. Definitely an interesting Trend probably forming. Right there. Let's see. Let's take a closer look at this little stretch. Where is this level at? Yeah, it's right there. And some there. Let's see, 1534. That's where we're at currently. Okay. Whoops, didn't mean to move that. Got something right there. Right there. Yeah, I already got that level covered. Let's see. Yeah, there's definitely something sitting right about there. This level probably drew a little bit low. It's right about here. Okay, let's see where that puts us. Interesting little couple of rejections just above this 1530 level. But I'm not really seeing it do anything else other than just reject right up there. Let me draw this level real quick. Certainly not anything I would heavily weight on into the trade plan, at least not based on that one little rejection alone. So the question becomes, do we have any other price action that can help us really kind of nail down if there's a level here, and if so, where it's at? And the answer is not really. I mean, it almost makes me want to err on the side of caution and use that level with that rejection. I think that, the more key level in this range is this 1534. There's could be something there. It just has not had a lot of time to develop support and resistance in that spot. So interesting 2-hour level right here, though, just that I'm noticing real quick. Alright, let's see where that puts us as far as current price goes, where I think the key levels might be. I think we can sort of fill in the blanks from here. So this is an interesting level. Alright, let's see. Any kind of other trends we want to be paying attention to. Not really. I was gonna say it almost looks like there could be a channel here, but I think we've invalidated it. Yeah, this maybe trying to sit right about there, at least for a little while. But we've pushed over and really kind of invalidated that upper trend line at this point, so I wouldn't focus on that too much, just kind of riding this line to the upside. So let's see what the indicators have to say. Let's get to the hourly chart. Interesting. Again, kind of one of these did just barely enough to flip things. I'd say we're probably still sitting right at resistance. Just had one candle, that one right there, just barely closed enough to flip things. That's not something I would put much weight into as far as us really flipping things to the upside already. But that being said, assuming that that pressure is still in place, we do have a confluence here at 1443. I do like Zim to take a shot at 1534 if it can break over that level. And I do like this as a stop loss right here at 1384. Over that, again, we have this 1563 level. One thing I'll say is make sure you move your stops up at 1534. I'd move them up to 1484. Worst case, set them at break even. I almost wonder if we take a shot though at that 1563, that kind of being a one-off rejection. If it is, it's an interesting base of support that got built up right here. That alone though, generally, yeah, the same level tested again there. Really cleanly though, bounced twice off that 1625 level. I think that's going to be our second price target. Just take a look, see if we've got any other. Answer's probably not. Price action through that spot. Here we go. Yeah, it was like early days and there was almost no volume. Very weird candles being formed there, but I think that there's close to enough here to use that as a second price target. Also kind of a to be determined how good that level is going to be, but I'm very intrigued by that 1625 pushing back to the upside. So third price target, yeah, I'd say up here at 1683. So that's your upside trade plan. Could, if it breaks over 1683, I'll just throw this out there, could potentially make a push for, what was that level? Sorry, I should have marked this when I was looking at it. I'd be looking for a push up to potentially 1759. So I'll just throw that out there as a possible fourth price target. Alright, downside. Where does that really start to get interesting? $333 is going to be at support right about 1284. Yeah, again, I'm not putting a ton of stock into this flip of things to the bullish side, but there is, if that does wind up sticking, we do break over 1443, then this flag I think would hold true. Key selling pressure, or buying pressure, sorry, down here at 1284. Also with the 333 coming up, so break below all that, I think gives us this target down here at this weekly level at 1199. Stop loss up here at 1353. Next price targets below that weekly level. Interesting little sell-off right down to that. Maybe we shoot one level lower. This is an interesting spot right here too, actually. Again, this might be one of those fill in the blank spots that I mentioned earlier. I mean, probably splitting hairs a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it at 1199, and then I think your next target winds up being 1136. Below that, be looking at 1054, third price target. So, these are the Zim trade plans. Alright, so What we're looking for here on Zim is a break over 1443. That should give us targets at 1534, 1625, and 1683 with a stop loss average down at 1384. To the downside, I'd be looking to play for continuation down below 1284 with targets at 1199, 1136, and 1054 with a stop loss average down at 1353. Those are your Zim trade plans. Alright, so Zim. And then what were our other ticker requests? Did we have Plug or Rivian? Let's take a look at those two. We'll pick one of the two. Plug, kind of interesting. Finally flipping things back to the bullish side after some serious selling pressure there. And then what was the other one, Rivian? CD, to answer your question on those lower price tickers, what I tend to do is just buy in the money. Yeah, volume, open interest are big, but also things that help is just almost trade options like synthetic shares. So buy, fairly deep in the money, fairly long expirations, and don't focus so much on percent returns, but dollar returns and actual price targets. But yeah, to your point, they can be slow moving from a contract premium perspective. It's a good point. Absolutely. Alright, so Rivian's still heavy under the selling pressures. Net hasn't flipped it, hasn't looked bullish since the beginning of the year. Overall, just straight selling, probably following Tesla to some extent. Also getting down to, gosh, is 1293 like the all-time low? No. But not much room down below, I don't think, right? Let's take a look at this. No, yeah. Let's be a downward trend-based fib extension. Alright, so Rivian or Plug. And Plug you could also trade with shares pretty easily and just load up on shares. But it is well below all-time lows. Rivian might still have some support. Let's go with Rivian. Why not? Between the two. Alright, so flip these off real quick. Let's clean up these price levels from whatever this trade plan was back in the day. I guess from back in here. Alright, that should just about do it. Shit, I had it. Son of a gun. I'm trying to grab this. There we go. Shaded area. And don't need these old long short positions. Okay. So, all-time low, at least from a cash session perspective, is down here. That'll be good to know. Whoa, buddy. There we go. Alright, I do have pretty good levels mapped out in here. So really my only question is there anything that we need to add or adjust? This is looking more like a daily level already. Interesting little base of support that built up here, but we've broken below that even. Let's This will be an interesting level to watch though as we go through some more time frames. I wonder if I've got this level a little high. It looks like that's probably sitting more like right there. And what do we have throughout this little range? Definitely have a daily level sitting right here. Threading the needle a bit on this one, but I think there's something in there. Right at that spot. Probably also something right here, actually. Alright, let's take a look at this 4-hour chart. Yeah, I think there is a level sitting right here. Yeah, I think there is something right there. And right here as well. Alright, let's get back to this, this little run. This is going to be where we're going to get, I think, most of our downside additional levels from. Yeah, it's sitting right about there. This might be a little bit more. Yeah, it's probably right about there. Okay, I think that might be pretty good. Let's see what this looks like. Alright, so where, if and where do we have a opportunity for upside here on Rivian is the question. $16.20. So I think I'd be looking to do on this one. This is a little bit iffy. I'll be the first to admit it. Looking at an entry over 16.19, first target up there at 16.78. Stop loss average down 15.78. The iffy-ish part about this is it'll give us a break over the 100 SMA potential, depending on how, because again, this flag, the selling pressure will move, continue to move, but if it drops another level down, I think it will put it somewhere pretty close to lining up with that 16.19, which would mean a break above. So I'm kind of anticipating a little bit, which I always say not to do, but I think I've done this long enough to know when it's appropriate to add a little bit of anticipation in as far as where I think this indicator is going to move. I've watched them enough to have an idea. So I think those would be my targets to the upside: 1678, 1730, and then 1781. Stop loss average down at 1578. I'm also thinking below 1479, and there is, I mentioned having to fill in the gaps. I think there is a level, yeah, right here, that for the downside would probably be a smart stop loss average down level. But let's get some confirmation on this. It's either 1479 or another level down, but let's see. Let's see. Alright, yeah, that kind of adds to my belief that there is an entry opportunity there. I think honestly takes us down to 14 flat. Below 14 flat, I think 1361 honestly. I know those seem like tight price targets, but could definitely find a bounce there. I think it's the smart place to continue to scale out or cover short positions, scale out puts. 1361. The question is, was 1293 kind of the next stop? I mean, I could also make a case for 1328 being the second price target. I'm going to stick to my gut though, and I'm going to take a little bit of a shot at 1293 again. Moving your stops up. By the time I hit 1361, you should be decently in profit, have taken profit out. Stop should be up, so even if we don't get all the way to 1293, worst case you're stopping out for profit still. But I'd say take a shot at 1293 being the ultimate target to the downside. Question is, should we give this 1517 a little bit more room though? Let me just take a quick look back here. Yeah, you know what, I would give this, it's not going to upset the apple cart that much as far as the risk reward or what the potential drawdown on this trade is. I say give it that little extra bit of room up to 1533. Looking at it kind of a second time, that just seemed a little too tight. So here are your trade plans for Rivian. Where's my, here we go. Gonna look like this. Alright, so what we're looking for here on Rivian is a break above 1619 to play targets to the upside. That should give us targets at 1678, 1730, and 1781 with a stop loss average down at 1578. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 1479. That should give us targets at 14 flat, 1361, and 1293 with a stop loss average down at $15.33. All right, so with that, folks, that's gonna, I think, wrap it up for our Thursday live stream this week and our last live stream of the week. So I appreciate you guys being here with me this morning and always focusing on building up our technical analysis skills and making sure that we have solid plans in place and making sure that we're ready to execute once those plans go into effect. So with that, I'm going to hit you guys with our FOMO live stream motto, which is plan your trades, trade your plans. Go out there, have a fantastic day. I will see you guys back here Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and in the chat in the meantime between now and then. So with that, keep your eyes peeled for the options watch list SPY plan to go out today. I'm going to get that done here in just a moment and should have it out to you before market open. So you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you in the chat. Go out there and get some green. See you back here next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Thank you guys so much. Thanks Navy Plum. Thanks Trader. Thanks Chris. Thanks everybody who popped in today, and see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great day.